Alright, cool. This might be weird segmented videos. I keep getting interrupted. So, but yes, using lighting to effectively show off texturing is delightful, and it doesn't need to be over the whole pen. Like, it could just be, you know, you're highlighting, like, the textures in this one little area, and, like, that gets the idea across of, like, where you've textured the object. Now this thing, I think, is a nice model. The texturing, perhaps, is, like, a little bit lacking, where it seems like everything is just, like, perfect mirror chrome. The one thing I did want to point out is, terrifying cat, they have gone through and sort of tried to add in, and it seems a little low res, but they've gone in and added, like, a slight bump map for the raised textures and the labels. That's definitely something you guys want to look at. This thing is absurdly hard to see the texturing on, but they do have, you know, some stuff going on. You can see here there's like some scratches on it. If we actually look at their texture maps with the model inspector, they have lots of scratches for the texturing itself. And they've gone through and they've done, like, if you look at specifically this map, you can see they have lots of scratches and, like, oily finger smudgies where you're holding the pen, which makes sense. And then at the sort of up here where you're probably not touching it as much, there's less of those. And then at the end here, perhaps this is, like, you know, you're chewing on the pen or you're, like, holding it and flicking it around or something weird. So that's something to look at in terms of just, like, placement of different types of grime. And then these are not pens, but just sort of like weird unrelated objects, which I thought were very nicely textured. Oh, silence cat. So this thing I think is particularly successful, one, because it's a honestly pretty kick-ass model, but the other things texture-wise that I think make this successful are you can see how this thing is made. So you have like welding marks here. So on a pen, you know, a lot of these pens have little molds that they're made in, and they'll have like tiny ridges of plastic where you see those pieces come together. So that's kind of the equivalent of that, where like it shows that very clearly. It has, you know, targeted grime, this is like filthy, gross. But like targeted grime, targeted scratches, lovely goofy fire decal here, which is funny. It's just like overall very nicely textured, and they've done a good job of going in and sort of like breaking it up. So it's not one type of dirt or one type of scratch. Like if you look at this, we have the sort of base paint texture, we have disgusting filthy grime, we have scratches through the paint, and then we have different grimes and sort of like oily buildups or whatever on this paint to give it different interesting effects. I'm sure some of that is also lighting. This thing I thought was also pretty successful. It has, how's it going for this? So this one, it has interesting, like, whoever made this, Jeff Severson, apparently, did a nice job with sort of where in areas it makes sense. So if we play this, he actually has animation on this whole thing, and sound, which is funny. In this case, I don't really care about the sound. So, I'm gonna go ahead and mute that, and just, I want this in a specific area when I pause it. So we have, like, this wheel was painted at one point, but you can see here it's gone through and has a lot of scratches from where it's just been grinding on this stone. And the scratches, it's not just one uniform chrome. He's gone through and he's added a bunch of different types of scratches within that chrome. So it has this really nice effect when light catches it, it, you know, makes really, really cool specular highlights. If we look in, if I can get my stupid screen in, if we look in here, same thing, where it's like painted red, but this area in here is grinding against these other metal areas, so the paint's chipped off pretty aggressively. And just like a lot of stuff like that throughout this model. You have, you know, clods of oil on the floor, like little oil drippies, and just generally different grime. So this particular object is a little bit like, it's pretty obviously dirty when you look at it from afar, but again, just sort of stressing the point where lighting plays a big impact in how you show off those details. So like you can, you know, you don't need like a crazy bright light on stuff. As long as you have that little bit of light shining across the surface, you can kind of see some of those like drips and scratches and all that good stuff. And then you can really sort of play that off here and like show off the different materials. So everything, like, honestly, that top part, it kind of looks like just a Lambert if you're looking at it from far away. But then once the light catches it, you're like, ooh, it's pretty and shiny. So that's, again, the kind of stuff you want to look for and play with. Use the lighting to show off the different materials and stuff that you've added to your your models. Also just, I don't know, try for fun specular highlights. Like honestly, all those shiny bits look really, really fun. And you can sort of like change things around to see like this is like a lot shinier in different areas, all that good stuff. Play with that. And here's an example, finally, last example, of random wood that I thought was nicely done. It's just mostly, wait, oh, 5 seconds again.